All right, Gauntlet Season 2 is released and there's a lot of new cells and you're trying to figure out which ones you should go for first. Let's talk about that in this video based off of which weapon you're maining. The first cell up we're going to talk about is the cell Recycle. Recycle gives you a 10% damage bonus every time you hit the same part, stacking up to 6 times for a 60% damage bonus at +6. Now this cell is really good for only 2 weapons and I would prioritize this if you're a repeater user or a War Pike user. If you're playing any other weapon, I would put this as your second or third choice cell to pick up. The next cell is the Reuse cell. Personally, to get the most use out of this cell, I would recommend running it at +6. At +6, it gives you a 90% chance of granting all Slayers a 20% attack speed bonus for 30 seconds whenever a part breaks that you either broke or assisted in breaking. This one I think is probably the best cell out of the 3 cells personally because it works with every weapon, and I would make this one the first one you pick up unless you're a repeater or a War Pike user. I personally think that Recycle will outpace this one for War Pike users and repeater users. I would pick this one up second for those weapons, not maining repeaters or War Pikes. I would definitely pick up the Reuse cell as your first pick. And the last cell we have to talk about is the Reduce cell. Now this one lowers your attack speed but increases your damage. When you have it maxed out, it reduces your attack speed by 30% but gives you a 50% damage bonus. It's a lot of damage, but you're sacrificing a lot of attack speed with this cell. Now, a couple of my buddies have ran this with hammer and with sword with KO builds, and it actually worked out pretty good. I think this would be a third tier pick for me for just about any weapon. I think this one will probably be most useful for Chainblade, Repeater, and War Pike users, probably the most useful for War Pike users. I think using all 3 of these cells on War Pike and Repeaters has some potential because all the attack speed and focused damage, able to get around 110% total attack bonus from just 2 cells. Seems like a pretty good play for a faster attack speed weapon if you can handle moving a little slower. And then you throw a Reuse in there and that can really counterbalance some of that slowdown from the Reduce cell. So I definitely think all 3 of these cells are viable. Reduce is obviously the last one I would pick up. It's just the hardest one I think to work into a build, but I think that Recycle at +3 is probably pretty viable for a lot of weapons. I wouldn't use Recycle +3 or +6 on something like hammer, sword, and chain blades. But I think you could probably get away with using a +3 recycle with something like an axe, getting that stacking damage bonus. If you have another finesse cell that you just need to put something in, I think that's a viable strategy. Obviously, that one's going to really shine with repeaters able to hit the same part repetitively, and definitely shine with War Pike with your little poke ability to get those wounds up really fast, and you're so focused when you're doing that attack and it will stack up to 6 very, very quickly. Recycle also is pretty viable with Revenant builds if you are playing Repeater or War Pike and you get a couple hits on the same part and then pop off Revenant. If you time it right and have the right distance, you can actually get 2 hits of Revenant on the same part, getting you that +30 or +60% damage on 2 hits of Revenant instead of just 1 hit of Revenant. But it does take a little bit of moving around to get that just right, to hit the head twice or hit the tail 2 or 3 times to maximize Recycle when you're using it with Revenant. But definitely would consider using this for Revenant. Yes, the damage is going to fall off right after that, but with faster weapons like Repeaters and War Pike, you're definitely going to get that back up pretty quick. Reuse is also a pretty useful cell when using it with Revenant because of that assist in breaking part. Pretty sure that's any part you've done damage to. So Revenant being able to widespread do damage to the behemoths definitely helps you with getting those assist on part breaks with Reuse. So I definitely like using Reuse with my Revenant build on my repeaters. I definitely see Reuse being a very valuable cell this entire season. I would definitely encourage people that are running Reuse in a full group though. I would only have 2 people using the Reuse cell at +6 and have the other 2 people using something like Conduit or Molten or some other attack speed or something more useful than Reuse. I don't really see any reason to have more than 2 people using +6 Reuse, because it is a 90% chance to give all Slayers that 20% attack speed bonus. I just don't see you needing 4 people with this as long as everybody's tagging the parts, or the 2 people using Reuse are tagging the parts before they break. You really don't need 4 people filling up their slots with this. You're wasting potential if you're running in a full party. So I definitely wouldn't use Reuse as a full group. Instead, what I would recommend is if you do have a dedicated party of 4, is having 2 people running +6 Reuse and 2 people running +6 Reduce, giving the other 2 people that are not providing that AoE attack speed bonus to reduce their attack speed and rely on their teammates to give them back some of that attack speed and gain that extra 50% damage bonus from Reduce. Definitely something I would play around with. If you've got a dedicated team, these cells can really synergize well together between Reuse and Reduce. And Recycle is really something I would only mess around with a select amount of weapons because you have to keep hitting that same part. So very limited gameplay with Recycle, unfortunately. Hopefully they make some changes to it, so maybe Hammer mains could use it too. I definitely think Axe mains would be able to use it pretty well. And I think that's about it. I think there's really only 3 weapons that are going to get away with really taking advantage of Recycle. But everybody can definitely take advantage of Reuse, and Reduce is going to be kind of a limited thing. That really depends on your party structure, or if you're willing to put a lot of effort into increasing your attack speed. Reduce is definitely going to be something worth playing around with. Which cell are you guys looking forward to the most? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys are looking at picking up these cells and you're not currently guilded in Dauntless or in a guild that's not participating in Gauntlet and you guys want some help picking up some of these cells, use the link in the comment section down below. Hit us up on Discord. We'd gladly add you to our guild in game. We're currently on the leaderboards, I think at 36 right now as far as the top 100 goes, and finished in the top 100 last time, and we're looking for more players to help us progress through the Gauntlet mode this second season.